So I guess I got about an hour here to finish these. Or see if we can run through 53 in an hour. It might sound easy, but it's not. Think about it. I got to talk about all these horses. So why is this? There we go. So we'll see if we can get that done in a decent time. See if we can fix this first and foremost. Anyway, so I gave you the top 10 list from this week, the top 15 that I'm watching. Talked about Jason's stable, talked about Kevin's stable, talked about Cruising in Styles and going Yonkers this week. And Lawmaker obviously raced tremendous last night, third and 53-2. His third quarter was 26-4. Obviously the wind was behind us a little bit, but third quarter in 26-4 was a big third quarter for the Lawman, and raced really well. Raced really well at the Poconos. Drew in. Obviously, the draws tomorrow for the $500,000 final of the Earl. No, not the Earl Beal. The Beal. Earl Beal? I don't know. The Beal Memorial goes for $500,000 American next week. Be nice to get a chunk of that. It's big money there. So let's get right to it. We'll run through how everybody's doing on the list, what they're up to, and what they're going to be up to when we'd like to see them in to go. So our Vica, we'll start with our Vica and Autumn Wings at the same time because they're both out in the field. I don't really have much to report except they're eating grass and hopefully gaining some weight and feeling good. They'll both be coming in about a week's time to start their training back and see if we can get them back ready again. Both of them weren't turned out for any other reason other than Autumn Wings. I wanted to let her mature a little bit, and our Vica just wanted to kill some time. You know, that time probably helped her. You know, she's a little skippy in the turns and running in a little bit. Those are typical 2-year-old things this time of year. So if we can afford them a month at this time of year, that really probably goes a long way and will likely pay dividends down the road. So our Vica and Autumn Wings will both be coming back in the next week. Bay Jewel, she's heading to Indiana. I talked to Jamie McCumber quickly about the filly, but I haven't been able to get back a hold of her. I hope I get a hold of her the next day because she's probably heading to Indiana right away, and we need a trainer for her. So if Jamie doesn't get back to me, I could always send the filly to Brandon Bates. He did obviously a great job with Swandre the Giant. For those of you who may or may not be on social media, Swandre the Giant qualified in 2 minutes last quarter and 28 seconds flat in Indiana. So obviously Brandon Bates done a great job with him. He's going to be ready to go next week. To be very clear, Swandre the Giant is not in our care anymore. The people that owned him from Illinois decided they wanted to send the horse to Brandon Bates, which is fine. I think that was always their thinking and their mindset. So the horse went out to Brandon Bates just before we got a chance to qualify him. So he's out there now. Looked like $1 million in the qualifier. So good luck to them with that horse. And as far as Bay Jewel goes, she'll be leaving in the next couple of days, going somewhere in Indiana. Obviously, I'm a little torn. I don't know whether I'm going to send the horse to Jamie or to Rob Boyd. I'd like to have somebody on the track or close to the track. I don't want to have this filly stressed out. I was originally going to send this horse to Jim Ulrich, but I didn't realize that he's stabled in Ohio. 3-hour truck for this filly might be a little tough for her. She's not wound as tight as some of the other horses and a little bit more frail, so I'd like to have her somewhere close to the track. So Bay Jewel will be leaving this week. Be My Delight. Did a little work on her. Looks like when she got cast a few weeks ago, she bothered her hip flexor. So any of you guys that ever hurt your hip or tweaked your hip, you know what she's going through. So it's she's not lame, but she's not 100% sound, and we're working through it. We know where it is. It's tough to get at though. So we have a magnetic blanket on her. We're massaging her. The machine that we had bought for Lawmaker and Cruising in Style for over their back, we've been putting it on her every single day. So we'll get to the bottom of it and probably get her qualified in the next week or so. She's a tough little filly, man. Oh man, I've always loved her, and she's very tenacious. So Be My Delight probably be qualifying in the next week. Better Call Mike, he'll also be coming back. Just got to check the dates on this guy. He's been out forever, it seems like. Probably turned into a big whale, big fat whale out there in the grass, but we'll get him back and get him going here. Remember, his knees were wide open and really bothering him, so all the time in the world's not going to hurt this guy. It's not really any rush now. What are you going to do, have him ready for September? So I might just give him another month, take our time, and see if we can get him ready for October. Race him a few times, October, November. There's some of those late closer series in Woodbine at the end of the meet. If he's good enough, we can race him there. If not, race him a couple of times and shut him back down. But he'll be ready to come back in soon enough. Boldness, another horse been out for a while. Going to take him back. Going to give him another 3-4 weeks maybe, let him really try and fill out, and then we can get him back going at proper time frame, get him back in, get him started up, and get him training back to big colt. Buckingham, she popped a quarter crack left front, our little girl did, and it was a little sore, right front, sorry. She was a little sore on it, changed her shoes up front, and much better now. So probably race her in another week or so, just like to get that quarter crack cleaned up, dried up. What happens is it's like a split in your finger, and the more you use it, the more it opens and bleeds. So you got to give her 4 or 5 days to really cool down and dry up, because if it bleeds, obviously it's hurt. It's a wound. So that'll clean up pretty quick. As soon as it cleans up to the point where it doesn't bleed and it doesn't bother her, and we don't need to wire it, then we'll put a real good training mile into her. I'd like to train her in 57 or 58 and get her into go. Casanova's Jewel's into qualify Monday, but he won't be qualifying Monday. I'm going to enter him for Tuesday and with mixed age horses, because I'm not back until Monday afternoon. So they were supposed to go Saturday, but with the weather the way it was, they postponed it to Monday. So I will be going with Casanova's Jewel Tuesday, hopefully, is the plan for him. Cash in on me, still hanging out around 220. I'm probably just going to train him another week or so and kick him out in the field. Nice colt, though. He's just turned into a big, giant colt, and he loves his work on the track. Just need to let him fill out. I think those hocks bother him a little bit, and his stifles are still wide open. His growth plates are really active in his stifles, and probably his knees are bothering him a little bit too. Just to categorize it easily, just a big, growthy colt. So I think we're going to turn him out and let him mature for a little bit also. No need to keep pushing and prodding at him. He's done everything we've asked him to and everything he can. So let's just give him a little time and let him mature into the colt that he was bred to be. So that's cash in on me. Captain Miraculous, schooled him in 2 minutes the other day. Probably come back with him again on Tuesday. We got a whole raft of horses and babies going over to school on Tuesday. It's going to be a busy day. So Captain Miraculous is going to find his way over there again on Tuesday. Cruising with Angus. Probably going to race him this coming... Probably going to school... You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to school him Tuesday and race him back a week from Tuesday at Georgian Downs. I would like to get him in the maiden there. This Tuesday it didn't fill. So maybe I'll give Ian, our race secretary, a call and ask him if he thinks it'll fill, how many he had for last week. School him Tuesday, and maybe we'll enter 2 horses for that class. Maybe him and Tulo, or him and Houdini maybe for next Tuesday at Georgian Downs. Might be a good idea. Especially since the first stake, I believe, for both of them might be at Georgian Downs. Dance Hall Babe, I talked about her. Dance Hall Babe's a very, very nice filly. She's going to be ready to go. Well, she is ready to go now. She qualified. I'd like to get 3 fast miles into her. She's a big, big, strong filly. Really got to pack that muscle on her. So you can't work her too hard, but you can't let her slide either. So probably train her slow mile Wednesday and come back on the weekend with a mile in 2 minutes or 2:1. I'd like to have her re-qualify in around 59. The big thing with her is keep her quiet at the gate. Do not leave with her, because that Angus Hall voice inside of her head is just itching for me to let her coast out of the gate. Take her off the gate, sit her on a helmet. Take her off the gate, sit her on a helmet. The good news is when you get her on a helmet, she's very polite, very quiet. So just do not let her get revved up at the gate. Absolutely, under any no circumstances is she be barreling out of there. So we'll go with her this weekend. I'd like to see mile, as I said, 2 minutes, 2:1. Where are we at? Oh, I skipped over Curious Winner. Curious Winner, hopefully qualifying. Now there's another horse. We'll probably go on Tuesday with him. I'll qualify him myself Tuesday behind the gate. It's important that that horse qualifies. If he doesn't qualify on Tuesday, he's not going to Ohio for the first stake race. So he has shown a few little issues up front. The break the other day, James swore, was simply because of the gate. Well, we'll see about that on Tuesday. We'll see if that gate bothers him on Tuesday morning. So he hopefully will qualify and then right off to Ohio. Dancing on My Own, big girl. We turned her out in the field for a couple of months, let her grow up and fill out. Another filly we want to have ready close to the end of the year. It's just too big, too long. Some big horses make it to the races, but some don't. And the last thing we want to do is keep scrubbing on this filly to do her work. She qualified in 2:3. The pace was set really slow for her. You know, she had schooled in 59, but she qualified in 2:3 last quarter in 29 seconds, last half in a minute flat, and 10 seconds. That's what she's going to have to improve on that qualifier. Now, I know she's gone 3 seconds faster in training and schooling sessions, but she'd have to pace 10 seconds faster than her qualifier to be effective in her jurisdiction in Pennsylvania. So the obvious and realistic thing to do is just shut her down, let her grow up. I'd rather put her away happy and sound and sharp and have a bigger, stronger filly come back when we bring her back in. Delcrest Star Angel's getting close. Made a couple little breaks training the other day over at Mohawk. Going to make some shoeing adjustments. I saw some weaknesses that I think we can exploit and strengthen up on this filly. So we're going to change her shoes and get her up over her knees. I think she's just touching one knee, very self-conscious of that. Much like Casanova's Jewel, except she's a little more sure-footed than he is. So Delcrest Star Angel will likely be ready to go in a few weeks. I know I told you July 15th. We're right on schedule. I'd originally told you the end of July. I think we're right on schedule for the middle of July, but we'll see. Coming good either way. Final Answer, I've talked about him also. It's a horse I'm really keeping my eye on. I really like this colt. He's a very interesting prospect. He was one of the only horses with a real bow in his neck finishing up. We stretched a bunch of them out, but this guy, he will make breaks in the middle of the straightaways, so I really kept a real good hold of him going right through the wire the other day and finished up extremely strong. This is a super talented colt, and I really am really interested to see what's going to take place with him. Friggin' Biggin. He's going to be heading to Ohio. Going to school him on Tuesday. Like to go a mile and 59 or 2 minutes with him. And then he is off to Ohio. These horses will be leaving Friday morning with Kirby and Jason and Doyle Transport down to their new home in Ohio for the next 8 to 12 weeks maybe. Hard 8 made her first start the other night. Hard 8, pace 59, last half 58, I believe, at Georgian Downs last night. Last quarter in 29 seconds flat. Paul McKenzie drove her. Another filly, I watched the video from Pennsylvania. Got to get her hobbles out. Geez, they looked a little tight on her. Going to do a little vet work on her and let her hobbles out and get her set up for her first stake race, which is coming up. Hold and Steady. We talked about Hold and Steady. Hold and Steady is racing tonight, which is last night for you, in Illinois. Picked a win. Really turned into a nice colt. So best case scenario for this guy all around. Won his first stake race. It went for $30,000. Now he's got 4 legs and a final coming at him for the rest of the summer in Ohio. Should be really fun for Angie and the owners out there with Hold and Steady. Ivanka. I think Ivanka's done for the year. At least she's done for the summer. Angie called and said her left leg's bothering her. She had a tiny tear in her tendon, which if she was a racehorse, she could patch that up and get through it. She's not a racehorse. She's a baby. She's a race horse. She's a horse that is racing, but she is not a racehorse yet. She's just a baby. And first things first, take care of the horse. So we'd sent an email out and said, listen, it's a beautiful filly. Obviously tough because she wasn't 100% sound on race night. Raced through it, raced tough, got weak, only trotted in 2.5, but was hurting. But never run, never looked to run. I love horses that do that. I love horses that show the heart and the determination and the knowledge to know what their job is and go out and do it. Sometimes at all costs. So Ivanka might be done for the summer, might be done for 2018, but we'll have a horse ready to go in 2019 that understands what her job is to do, and hopefully by getting her sound and getting her right, we'll be able to give her all the tools to do that job. So that's Ivanka. Candy Mac, he'll be ready to go next Tuesday at Georgian Downs. Next Tuesday at Northfield Park. Not this Tuesday coming, a week Tuesday. He's qualifying Monday morning with James. Going to have this colt in the Ohio Sires July 2nd in Northfield Park. King of the Ball, obviously we turned him out for a little while, let him mature. The funny thing about this guy, when he gets a little uncomfortable, he gets really hot. And you could see it in this qualifier. He was angry. So we're going to give him some time to let his knees cool down, let him fill out, let his joints as a whole and his whole body just cool down and fill out and mature the way they're supposed to, because this colt's just a little immature right now, a little ornery, and we can fix that. We did geld them. That takes some time to take a good hold of them, and I think what you're going to see is a really talented colt when he comes back in a little while. So that's King of the Ball. Christine K is going to qualify Tuesday. She missed her first New York Sire Stakes, but that's fine. She came in extremely late, then she tied up, and we missed a little time. She's going to be ready to go soon enough. So looked great the other day. Trained her in 2.5, then we schooled her in 2.2. Should be ready to go. Oh, excuse me. Should be ready to go in, I'd say 59 or 2 minutes on Tuesday. Linnea is a filly where, again, we're going to school her on Tuesday, probably race her next week. Was a little bit sick in her qualifier. A couple of them were not too bad, though. Trained good the other day, looked good, looked like she bounced back really well. Going to put a good schooling effort into her, like go mile 57 with her on Tuesday. See how she feels. Maintenance Man, another horse, we talked about him a minute ago. Probably going to put him in to go Thursday. I'm leaning towards that, Thursday or Friday. But we will see how he feels this week. It might end up being a next Tuesday. School him. I don't really want to school him Tuesday. Probably train him in the middle of the week or race him next Tuesday. So at some point over the next 10 days, 9 days, you're going to see Maintenance Man likely into race. Where are we at? Majesty Boy, qualified the other day, looked great. Going to be another horse on the truck heading to Ohio to race in the Ohio Saturday Stakes on July 2nd at Northfield Park. Maxwell Plum, a little flat the other night. Going to do a little vet work and a few little shoeing changes to Maxie. See if we can't get him squared away properly. The track the other night was similar to Northfield, not as fast as Northfield or as deep, or Grand River is deeper than Northfield. But at the same time, Maxwell tried 2-3 last half in a minute. Was interfering a little bit, a little out of gear. I think we can change that little vet work and change those shoes up front. We'll get him back on track quickly. Mo Better. Mo Better's another horse I talked about earlier. Schooled him in 57 last half and 55 in a bit. Did cough on Saturday morning, so probably going to take our time a little bit. I was planning on racing him on Friday. It will probably be next Wednesday now or Tuesday, but we'll have him in to go soon enough. Mr. Caper. Mr. Caper's out in the pool. Now, a little bit of an issue with Mr. Caper. We had him re-x-rayed to see how that foot was, and the vet had found a bit of an anomaly in that foot that either wasn't there. I know a couple of surgeons, and we had forwarded the x-rays to a surgeon, and she said that the case file does not fit the injury. So we've asked the veterinarian to go back down and re-x-ray that specific area in his foot to make sure that he's okay. The prognosis could be perfect to not perfect, depending on how these x-rays come out. So big day for Mr. Caper coming up on Monday. I don't really know what to say until I hear from the veterinarian myself. Until I hear from the veterinarian and the surgeon myself, I don't really know at this point any more than you do, other than there was some concerns and a bit of an anomaly they found. So we're going to be taking a closer look at Mr. Caper on Monday or Tuesday morning. Not an Angel, talked about her. She's out there in Illinois, jogging good now, looking good, come out of her race good. Should see some forward progress on her. If we can keep her tight, if we can keep this filly tight, we are going to have some fun with her all summer long, that's for sure. Oh So Pine. Oh So Pine is making his first lifetime start Tuesday night at Mohawk Raceway. Woodbine, Mohawk Park, whatever they call it. So, Oh So Pine looked great in his qualifier, looked great training this week. Really excited to go with this colt Tuesday night myself. Quartz Blue Chip, another filly. Been in 2-5 a couple of times, but another filly like Dancing on My Own. Long, strong. There's a lot of work to do. But not a big deal. I mean, I'm the majority owner of this filly. Gorgeous filly, beautiful gait, very well bred. Sweet Lou, first crop Sweet Lou. A half sister to Big Boy Dreams, who in 48 or 49 made $600,000. The second dam, also a sister of her mother, was Molly Can Do It, I believe, who made $600,000 or $700,000, maybe over $1 million, and took America 49 in her own right. So a very regal family, well-bred filly, put together well, great body on her, just maybe a little immature. So some question marks surrounding Quartz Blue Chip, but they'll be answered over the next week or two. And for me, I'm not really concerned. As I said, if they can't pace 53 in Pennsylvania, we really have to take a serious look at what our business plan is going to be for them in the summer of 2018. So Quartz Blue Chip, like Dancing on My Own and a couple of Boldness, a couple of other horses, really bumping up against that wall of, do we really want to start racing this horse when she's not 100% comfortable and mature? And would she benefit from some time in the field? These are questions that will be answered by her and myself over the next 2 weeks, I'd say. But trained in 2-5 a couple of times and looked okay doing it. Ready for the beach, found some issues with him, nothing serious, actually happy to find them. If you watch the qualifier closely, he was on the right line pretty good and running in. Found one ankle was bothering him, and his stifle was bothering him. For a pacer, kind of rare. Nothing serious, just some discomfort in that stifle. So we did a little of that work on Ready for the Beach, and he's going to be ready for the stake races next week in Ohio. Rock on the roll. This guy has made his last trip behind the gate for us. Qualified him in 2-5 at Grand River. It's an okay mile, I suppose. Here's a beautiful, well-bred colt. You know, doesn't wear a boot, doesn't wear a pole, leave, sit, just doesn't want to do anything completely properly right. And probably do somebody some good. We got him paid into all the fares down there, so probably put him up for sale on Monday or Tuesday and move on Rock on the Roll. Let him rock on down the road, because he's not going to do us much good, I don't think, especially right now. And I'm not willing to double down on him as a 3-year-old in 2019. We'll allow somebody else to do that. RV LeBron gave his knee a couple of good little wraps there last week training. His knee blew up pretty big, so we cooled it out and got it cleaned out. I just turned him out for a few weeks, 2-3 weeks maybe. Let him mature again. I don't know, 2-3 weeks will give us an indicator of how much time off he needed. 2-3 weeks isn't enough for a horse that's got some injuries. This horse just brushed his knee, just some bad luck more than anything. I was really happy with what I saw and the way he was trotting. I really liked it, so eager to get him back in and back going, but happy to give him a couple weeks off and let him mature. This is a horse that I had a fair amount of disdain for all winter. He's shown me some heart, this horse. You know, I'll cut him some slack. He's shown me some heart over the last month. Really happy what I've seen with him. As far as that knee goes, it's not a big deal. We'll get it cleaned out and get him trotting square, but we'll have him down to Ohio at some point. It won't be next week, but it'll be at some point this summer. Screaming Hawk, talked about Screaming Hawk. There's a colt that I got some really high hopes for. Ontario bred Angus Hall, polite, which is very, as I said before, un-Angus Hall-like of him. Being polite and doing his job well. Finished up 28-1 in his qualifier. Looked very good. So very, very happy with Screaming Hawk and excited to get him in to go. See you in Tuscany. What can I say about this colt? 26-2 or 3 or 4 on the end of it the other night. Big last quarter, mile and 56. Looked like a champion. Looked great doing his work. Shouldn't say a champion. He's got a ways to go to be a champion, but definitely looked like a contender in the Ohio Star Stakes this summer. I would shudder to think there'd be lots and lots of horses that look better and handier than this colt. Cut it out, whacked it out, looked like a boss in the qualifier, and then raced him the other night, took him back, sat quiet, moved him, charged on the end of it. Really doing everything and more we could ask him to do right now, so couldn't be happier with what I've seen from See You in Tuscany. Stolen Dance, another Pennsylvania bred that we gave the summer off, let her mature and grow up and be a nice filly. Give her knee a little wrap, much like RV LeBron. It blew up. We just said enough's enough and gave her some time off. Very, very smart, mentally strong filly. She knew what her job was and wanted to do it. Now we're going to let her physical presence fill out and hope that she turns into as physically strong as she is mentally, because she is a nice filly to be around. Springbridge Proud racing, making his first parimutuel debut Monday at Grand River. I'm going to drive him. Very happy with what I saw. And the shoeing changes we made, I didn't think helped. We made a couple little equipment changes, and he looks like a different horse right now. So Springbridge Proud, horse I'm really looking forward to racing Monday night at Grand River. Stonebridge Loyal, I talked about her in an earlier thread, if you will, where we were doing the horses I wanted to watch. Had a lot of vet work done on her this week, so your vet bill is going to be a little higher on Stonebridge Loyal than I'd like, but at the same time she needed the work, and I think it'll pay dividends down the road. Really, really looked impressive to me, considering the minor issues, the abundance of minor issues she had. Nothing horrible, just now that we know they're there, we know where to look and we know where to work on a full-time basis. So Stonebridge Loyal, happy and excited to see her race. Stonebridge Simba qualifying tomorrow. If the weather is good and the track's good, I'd like to see James go a mile but 59 with this colt. But we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes down for Stonebridge Simba. Sunshine's Finest, A+. I did not see that horse looking that good. James said he kicked the earplugs and near fell out of the bike the other night. He said one sentence to me. He almost ran over me going under the wire. He was coming so fast from behind. He moved over. He got up beside me. He looked over at me and he said, "This horse is going to make a lot of money this summer." That's all he said. And James drives for a lot of big trainers, drives a lot of good horses, and has a pretty good firm grip on reality, I think. And he was blown away by this colt, as I think everybody was that kept a close eye on him. This guy really looked like a tremendous athlete on Monday night, or Thursday night, Thursday night. So Sunshine Inn raced on Saturday, made her first lifetime start. I was watching the race in Pennsylvania. I thought she got up and won. She got beat a nose at the wire. 58-4, last half 57 and a piece. Jesus, filly looked awesome. Really, really excited about that, how she looked. A little steppy in the turn. She's got a right ankle that bothers her a little bit. So a little vet work needs to be done on her, but nothing special. And we talk about this vet work. It isn't like, oh, you have to do vet work. We're just trying to set them up for the summer. Trying to get them to the clinic, get a firm grip on what the veterinarian sees as their issues, see if that jives with what we've had written down as issues with the horses. Most times it does. And then what we do from there is take those two reports, if you will, and keep a close eye on the horse all summer. Sunshine in, I know her knees bother a little bit, lower hocks, maybe right ankle. So, you work on her feet first and foremost. Those are all secondary issues to feet. So work on her feet, keep them poulticed up and packed, keep painting her knees and her hocks, keep an eye on that right ankle, maybe get a back on track bandage on there, sweat it every couple of days. Just minor things that play a big role, inch by inch. So those are important. And Sunshine In showed a lot of heart and determination. She was charging on the end of it. First lifetime start, 58 in Georgian, is certainly nothing to be upset about. So happy with her. Swandre the Giant, I'll mention him. He's qualified now, qualified tremendous for Brandon Bates out in Indiana. 2 minutes last quarter and 28 seconds. I just saw the video about an hour ago. Man, he looked exactly how we knew he'd look. He looked like a monster. So very happy, very happy with Swandre the Giant and how he looked on the weekend for Brandon and company. The Butler did it, making his first lifetime start in a stake race in New York on Wednesday. This horse, we've made a decision. This horse is going to be heading to Paul Kelly. So Mr. Kelly's going to pick that horse up at Buffalo. We're going to race him. Kathy Cummings has the horse in Buffalo. She's going to race the horse Wednesday. I'm going to drive the Butler Did It, and then he'll be off to Paul Kelly's barn. Too Far Gone looked tremendous. Got a little vet appointment for her on Tuesday afternoon. Like what I saw, was a little pinchy right hind and on the right line, which we always knew always bothered her. We're going to get her looked at on Tuesday and make sure she's okay. I'm sure she is. And then we'll be heading her down to Ohio also for next week in. So some of them race in Northfield, some of them in Scioto. I don't want to misquote myself. I know the trotting colts are in Northfield. I assume the trotting fillies are too, but I'm not positive. So we'll see next week. It'll be either Northfield Park or it will be Scioto. So she's heading down on Friday. Tomorrow's headline, had a couple of coughs out of him this weekend. He was in the qualified tomorrow. I told Amy, maybe we'll just wait and go with him another week. This colt's going to need a little bit of time. He's not a half-mile track horse, so we're not going to be going into any small races with him. But he's got a lot to prove to be a Grand Circuit colt. So we're going to let him mature, try and put some muscle on him. I'd like to see him qualify in 56 before we even think of racing him in any sort of gold stake race. And if the grassroots happen to come to Mohawk, he'll probably start there. Don't want to discourage this colt. He's got a great attitude and a great work ethic. So really want to get his career off on the right foot. Twinsburg, maybe scratch tomorrow. White count was a little bit high and a little bit skewed on her. So keeping a close eye on her. She was trained up and ready to roll. Looked great. Had her to the vet the other day. Really, really, really happy with what I've seen from Twinsburg. So excited to see what she is going to be able to do in 2019. She will also be heading to Ohio. So I think maybe we'll just train her at Mohawk a mile and 58 on Wednesday or Thursday if her blood comes back good. And then we will race her in Ohio next week in her first stake race. Time Al Houdini's qualifying tomorrow. James is going to be going with him. I'm really excited to see how this colt is. I personally was going to put the trot and hobbles back on him. James asked me not to. So I'll trust his judgment. He qualified him the other day. He's going to go with him tomorrow. I'd like to see another mile and 59 or 2 minutes out of him, but he's not going to have White Tiger to chase, so he's going to have to do it on his own. And I hope he does. Time Tulo also ready to go. Probably going to race him a week from Tuesday in Georgian. This colt's good. Not as good as I thought he'd be just yet, but he's coming. He's coming. He's got a great gait. He looked good the other day. I trained him real hard at the farm. He came out of the training trip excellent. So we will see how he looks next week at Georgian, I believe, on Tuesday. War We Ultra, excited to get this filly back going. Looking at a start for her this week. Not sure where yet. Not positive where yet, but we're going to have her in somewhere this weekend, I believe. Really excited to race her. Actually, no, not this weekend. I'm going to school her on Tuesday, see how she feels. She'll be in to go shortly after that. West 52nd raced a little flat. Not a big deal, though, West 52nd. I mean, this colt's shown a lot in the last little while. Going to cut him some slack, run some fluids into him, get his white count under control, and race him next week in Ohio, where I think he'll be just fine. White Tiger, obviously super excited to race this colt. This Thursday we're entering him, and I'm really, really excited to race him. Just a tremendous wealth of talent. Everybody knows that has seen him. Just got to get his screws tightened up in his head and keep those voices to a low lull if we can, and he'll be a very effective horse for us this summer in Pennsylvania. And that last, but obviously every week, not least, is Yes. Yes, a nice colt racing on Tuesday, making his first start, and he'll be off to Ohio shortly after. Only good things to say about this colt. Jonathan likes him. I like him. I'm sure James will like him after he drives him on Tuesday, and it should be fun with him in Ohio this summer. So that's a rundown of everybody. We got it done in 31 minutes. We got 53 horses done. That's pretty good. So I'm now in the Montreal airport. I'm going to maybe get something to drink and get something to eat. I'm heading to PEI for a funeral tonight. I have a good friend of mine, Mike McDonald, passed away. The first guy that Mark and I got our start with. So going to a funeral tonight. I'll be back tomorrow to drive Springbridge proud. We'll be racing all week. Next Saturday we got Lawmaker going for $500,000 at the Poconos, Mohican Sun Pocono Racetrack. And right after that, the next week, Ohio starts. So it's going to be an exciting week and a super exciting weekend next week. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. Still floating around off Lawmaker's race. So hopefully going to have a great week this week, great weekend next weekend, and start the summer off with a bang. So hope everybody's having a good time. Thanks again for everybody that tuned in, watched the videos, and all the nice comments that are sent. We'll keep it going all summer. No matter how I do it, I'll get it done. Take care.